Here we go. Okay. All right. Another episode here of Hall Pass Heroes. We're here with the woman who I absolutely love and
Oh,
adore.
thank you.
And we're going to dive in. And please tell me your name, your job description, your years of service, and what is your favorite quote in education?
Okay. I'm Regina McLendon. I am the principal of Oakland Mills Middle School. And my favorite quote is from Nelson Mandela. So I'm going to have to read it to you because sometimes I can't remember things. Everything's in my mind. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And anybody who knows anything about me, I try to make change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ms. McClinton, do you mind if I ask what are your years of, how many years of
I'm sorry, I
service?
forgot about that.
No, you're fine.
This is year 34.
You're 34. 34. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
So no, I
It's a
can't.
long
I'm
time.
looking at you and I cannot tell that.
Oh,
I cannot
thank
tell
you.
that. So what initially brought you into education? What brought you into the profession from the very beginning?
You want to know the real answer or just
The
something?
real answer. All of this is about, and this is some educator one of these days is going to sit back and they're going to look at this, and I need you to be upfront and honest with them. What brought you in?
Okay, this is the real answer because I wanted summers off. No, actually, I grew up as a military brat. And growing up as a military brat, every 3 years, I would have to go to a new school, new country, new community, what have you. And there was always like a missing link because I was always uprooted from my friend group and moving into a new community until high school when we relocated here. So education was really important to me because as I went to the different states or the different countries, DOD schools, Department of Defense schools, or community schools, the academic rigor or what was expected of me would be different. And being a transient child, that's hurtful sometimes because sometimes you're not where everyone else is, you're behind, you would need resources, accommodations, or what have you. And I wanted to go into education because I didn't want other children to have to feel like I felt as I switched schools every 3 years.
Gotcha. What branch of the military, if you don't mind me asking?
My dad was in the Army.
My father was in the Army too. We
Okay.
moved around a lot.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I was born in Texas. We moved to Italy, Germany, all that stuff.
Were you stationed in Vicenza?
We were.
That's where I
Oh my God! Look at this. Look, hold up now.
Yeah,
Hold up.
in Vicenza
Yes,
for
we were
like
stationed in
5
Vicenza.
years.
Wow.
Yes.
Small world. Okay. All right. So identify your why. I mean, you kind of just were going into it just now, but why do you continue to do, that's what brought you in. Why do you continue to do what you do every single day, 34 years later?
Because I love humanity. I love humanity. I love people. I love the young people. I love making connections, and I'm that social justice person. I'm not afraid to stand up for something or for people. So that's what brings me into education. That's what brings me into the community. I just love people, and I love leading, and I love seeing young people evolve.
When would you say you fell in love with the profession? Was it a specific event that happened? Was it just like a light bulb went off one day? When would you say you fell in love with what you do?
I'm a graduate of Morgan State University. And as we went through the process and we did our methods teaching and our student teaching, it was difficult because I was coming from Howard County schools and then I was put into urban settings. And it was difficult because there were so many different things happening in the urban setting that I had never experienced. So I'm like, okay, I like this, but I'm not sure about it. And then I came into Howard County and I'm still learning things. The light bulb hadn't clicked on, but I was connecting with the young people. I was connecting with the families. And I'm just doing, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my ministry. But when I became an assistant principal, that's when it all turned on. That's when I could take my vision, I could use it to change things. I could see a change. So I would say when I became an administrator, that's when the light came on and the love for this job really, really started to blossom. I did a thing while I was a teacher, but as an administrator, it all brightened for me.
As I'm hearing it, correct me if I'm wrong, as a teacher, you really, really liked it. Maybe even at the time you thought you loved it until you became an AP. And then it was, this is it. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. What may have changed that? So not necessarily not change that. Maybe I just need to rephrase this question. We all have a moment of where even when we love something dearly, it's still like, man, this is too much, or whatever it might be. What is something that may have challenged your love for the profession?
When I was a teacher, or now?
Now, let's say now, as a principal. So I'm with this interview, I would like to look at it from your perspective right now.
Okay.
From your perspective right now, as a principal, what is something that may have challenged your love for your job?
The world that we live in is so complex, and the policies that are in place now don't actually match what we're going through in education. So those policies that are in place, some of them were for young people in 1980, 1999. We live in 2025. These young people have been through COVID. They have technology. So things are different. They have a different window to look through. So the policy doesn't match actually what the young people are going through. And there may even be some policies that are not put in place yet to accommodate the needs of the young people. When I talk about policies, I'm talking about perhaps vaping. Like 10 years ago, you didn't have vaping in the policy because people weren't vaping. We have weapons, we have alcoholism, we have children that come from same-sex families, we have children that are coming from families that are divorced, and there's so many different things that are happening nowadays that weren't happening before. So it makes the job difficult because there is no standard, there's no precedence. I can't go back and look, what did we do for this 5 years ago? Because it wasn't a thing.
Right.
Now it's a thing. When you call a family's house nowadays, before I call, say for instance, I'm calling little Regina's house, I have to ask Regina before I pick up the phone, what are your pronouns that your parents know? That wasn't a thing 5 years ago, but it's a
Right.
thing. So it's very complex.
It's interesting. I think one of the things that here in the district that we work in, a challenging thing is where it's saying our policy is cell phones off and away, right? And if they're not, then we confiscate the phones and go through so on and so forth. But we're also willing to acknowledge that cell phones are very addictive. So we're telling people who we know, especially children who have grown up literally with a phone in their face from the day that they were born, we're telling them off and away, knowing that they're addicted. But how do you battle that? Like, how are we actually battling that addiction? How are we dealing with that, right? So we're looking at policies going to what you're saying. Like, do our policies actually align with the reality that these kids are facing? Maybe that is the right answer, right? Maybe it's not. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's what
and the policy doesn't always align, but expectations speak volumes. For instance, cell phones we haven't been using cell phones in our school since 2020. So when they came up with that policy in March of 2024, I was already doing it because I knew how distracting phones were. I realized how children bully each other with phones. There's so many different things that happen with the phones. So when we came back from COVID, we didn't do phones.
Right.
We never did phones. And so when they started this policy in 2024, we didn't have to make an adjustment because we don't do phones here. Yeah.
Good. All right. So in your role, so now you are in year 34. So this is an interesting. I'm very curious to know the answer to this question. Do you have a mentor in your role that keeps you uplifted? If so, who are they and why are they your mentor?
Okay, so I'm like the old girl on the block.
I love you to death, but you know what? I love you to death. Those are your words.
And it's difficult because I like to think that I'm a humble person. So I don't say much in meetings. I'm quiet, but sometimes I'm just kind of bored because I'm like, this is just me being me. I'm like, duh, we know that. But I have to remember I have years of experience.
Right.
So I know a lot of things. So I don't want to discount anybody because we learn from everybody and everything. I learn from my little learning machines when I come in this building. I learn from my secretaries. You learn from everyone. So I do learn from people that are my supervisors. But if I had to say that I had a mentor, I would say, and I still talk to her. She texted me yesterday. Is Dr. Johnson.
Hey, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Dr. Kendra Johnson. She is the GOAT.
Yes.
She
Yes.
is. She's so funny because I had an assistant principal. Not going to say his name. He cracked me up. He would do things, and I'm like, my gosh, Kendra is going to eat me alive. And then I would call her and say, hey, this is what happened. And she was like, and you did that? I was like, yeah, I did that. She's like, you're not telling the truth. You did not do that. Did such and such do that? I'm like, I did it. She was like, you are not telling the truth. But she ingrained so much in me, whether it's policy, whether it is legal things, that I just learned so much from her. And she made me. She made me. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yes, I know Dr. Johnson. I know Dr.
She's a
Johnson.
beast, right?
Absolutely,
She
absolutely.
gets you
She is
right.
look. I'm telling you, Dr. Johnson is just a scary woman. Boy, you do not want to be on the wrong side, but scary in a good way.
In a good
Stay on your
way.
P's and Q's. Do what you got to do. There ain't nothing to be scared of.
She knows some
But
stuff.
when you messing up, she's not gonna mince her
She gonna hold
words.
you to it. Hold your
Absolutely.
feet to the fire. But she has made me a better leader, a better woman. I love her dearly.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. That's good. How has your work style evolved since your first year in education? Well, the question is in education, but I'm gonna ask from year one as a principal, right? So when you're walking in as principal, your first day to today, how has your work style changed? Yes.
How have I evolved?
How have you changed? What have you learned? What's changed since year one?
Wow, like I can't remember that far back. I think I don't know, but what I can say is life experiences will help you change. They'll force you to change. Children said they have anxiety. Children have attention deficits. Staff have these things. Um, I could before I didn't understand. Okay, so having an understanding of just general things that go in life. Maybe that's how I evolved. So, for instance, the anxiety thing, I really didn't understand. I'm like, I don't understand that because I don't have anxiety. But one day I had an anxious attack. So I understood what the kid felt like. I was like, "Ooh, this is what anxiety is." So then from there on, I was better able to address young people who have anxiety. Talking about life events. Life events have helped me evolve as a leader. I got a divorce once since I've been in the profession. And being a divorce, going through different things helped me understand what young people go through when their families separated. So all of my life experiences have helped me be a better person, a better leader, and have a better understanding with people, with young people. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, yeah. And one thing about me, and I say this to my staff all the time, I move with logic and not heart until I figure it out. And then that young person or that staff member gets all the heart they need. But you have to be very logical in what you do, how you speak to families, how you speak to staff, how you speak to children. And once you get some things clarified and balanced, then they can have all the heart they want. But if you move with your heart, sometimes you'll miss those basic things. So,
It's interesting you say that. I'm going a little bit off script right now, but it's interesting you say that because I've always just kind of, from our interactions that we've always had, right, from either from our mutual students or just seeing some of the interaction you have with the kids whenever you come over to the football games, or when we were also interacting at the hospital, so on and so forth. I figured you would have assessed yourself. I've always assessed you, not the opposite, not that you're illogical. That's not what I mean. I've always seen you as a heart first person. So to see you assess yourself as the other way around is interesting. I've always seen you as you always go with. I've always seen you as a very compassionate person. You're a very loving person, so on and so forth. And then everything else, as long as you're always doing right by people, we'll work out all the other details afterwards. So interesting.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You can always do right by people, but people won't do right by you. So sometimes you have to move in with that logic, and then they get the heart.
Gotcha.
And when you see me with people, I'm always going to show up as a kind person. I'm going to be a clear person.
Yes.
Instead of direct, I'm going to be very clear with the person, but I have to set boundaries because I'm a leader in the community, but I'm also a person. I'm a
Right.
mom. There's so many different things there.
Right.
But after I set those boundaries, then you get all the love.
Right.
But I just need kids to understand no one's going to give you love all the time. When you're outside of this institution, you don't know what you're going to get. So I'm going to stand on. I move with that logic, and then they get the love. But I'm glad that you see.
I see the love.
Maybe I'm canvassing it, hiding it in some way.
I see the love, and no, and it's again, it's not that I don't see again the logic or anything like that. I definitely see that as well, but I definitely see the love and the respect that not only you give but also that you receive. Oftentimes, I think this is what it is. Oftentimes, it's what's that quote? Like people don't care about how much you know; they just care that you care, or something like that. They know that you care, or whatever it is, right? So it's like I see that, and I can see it. The students can see it. Other staff members can see that you absolutely positively care. So my mindset that you always led with that, with the love, and then everything else will work on that. Not afterwards, but yeah. So okay. From your students, we have all learned a little something from our students, whether that something be good or bad or whatever it is. What is a lesson you have learned from your students? Something you've learned about yourself that the students shine a mirror on you. And you say, "Oh, I didn't even realize that."
They tell me I act like a middle schooler.
Please expand on that answer.
Okay, so middle schoolers are all over the place, right? They're all over the place. They say what they want, they do what they want, and sometimes when they're in my presence, I kind of say whatever I want, and I kind of do what I want. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you act like a middle schooler," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm around you guys all the time." Or I make little jokes with them, like they say something and I say something back, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell my mom." I was like, "I'm gonna lie and say I never said it." They're like, "What? What? What?" I was like, "That's what you do to me all the time." But you gotta have fun with them. And they say this about me. They say I'm very old fashioned. Like, what does that mean? It means that I have expectations. So because I have expectations, I'm old fashioned. I have expectations of you, and you need to fall in line because you just can't live this life and do whatever you want. Someone has to hold you to a standard. So, in their mind, that's being old fashioned.
I wouldn't say that's old fashioned, but I got you.
Yeah. Hold you to a standard.
What's a defining moment in your role as principal that you'll never forget? I know there's several.
So many, but the thing that just comes, the defining moment, and defining it can mean so many things, but this is just so fresh in my head, is when I lost 4 students in 3 months. Oh my goodness, that I still struggle with that. I struggled that I had to stand beside people that were burying their hope. Like, they were in high school. They were no longer my kids, but they were in high school. First of all, they're all my kids. Yeah, they're always going to be my kids. But to see parents have to bury their hope for 4 kids to die in 3 months, that was a defining moment for me. So defining that it prompted me to run for county council, because I'm like, what can I do to help this community be safer? To have 5 young people that used to sit at that very table and one of them not come out of the situation alive, like that just rips a hole in your heart. So, and I'm sad that one of the most defining things is a sad thing, but it is.
It's reality.
Yeah. And when I started this job, I never thought that I would be helping parents bury their children. I never thought that I would be having grief sessions with young people. That's not what you sign up for.
Yeah.
But that's what I got, and that those deaths have forever changed me.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of goes into this next question, right? Which is like, what value does your role as a principal bring to not only a school, but a community?
Wow. I have so many thoughts in my head. The value that my role as a principal brings to the community. Parents are so grateful for the work that principals do, the leadership that they do. Because I'm from this community, I graduated from Oakland Mills High School. I know this community very well. I'm connected with a lot of the people, the grandchildren that go here. I went to high school with with the grandparents. So there's a huge connection there, but families feeling more comfortable or comfortable enough to come to me and saying to me, "Hey, we have a food shortage. Can you help us with food?" Or, "We can't find a place to live." Or, "Can we bring our younger kids up here so you can talk to them. I don't know if I'm answering your question right, but I feel like the role of me being a principal in this community is really respected, and that the parents lean on me to help them navigate their lives. Did I
No,
answer you right?
absolutely. No,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm asking it just what role does a principal have in the community? And that answers it perfectly.
Yeah. So as I was talking about the deaths of the young people, when one of the kids was murdered at the mall, people were calling my phone, and I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I'm not it. I already had 4 people die. I'm not it. Not it. And then my work phone rung, and I answered it, and it was a crying voice, and I was like, hello. And the parent said, hey, Miss McLendon, this is such and such mom. We're at shock trauma. Are you coming? And this all happened within an hour or 2 hours of him being shot. So my parents at the hospital, her child was shot, and she's calling the principal to come to the hospital. So I kind of think that speaks volumes about, I guess, as a leader, how the community feels about me, that they're going to
Right.
lean on me when the worst thing that they could have imagined happened in their life. And when they went back to see him, I was in the waiting room, and I was like, okay, you guys, I'll be right here. They were like, no, you're going back there with us. And every step of the process, when they declared him legally dead, when they did the organs, asked for the organs, to us finding a church, to us, every intimate detail, they insisted I be there because they wanted that leadership. They wanted that person there for them. I didn't know principals would do these kind of things,
Right.
but that's just the role I played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's powerful, right? So it's like that's just what you're saying, right? We go into education with the expectation of I'll help. I don't know what your subject area was. Like I'm teaching kids Great Wall of China.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. Oh, this
No.
is not something I'm learning about in my classes, but this is the value and the power of a principal. So, with that, what should people know about your position before going into it?
It's a 24-hour a day position. So it is important that you learn boundaries and balance. With cell phones, people are constantly calling, depending on you, leaning on you. Do you want that? It's like an invasion of privacy. Do you want that? Some people can balance that, and they want that. And I wanted that, and I was fine with it. But you also have to think about your own well being, your own family. My young people, my children are adults. They're 31 and 28. So I can balance that because I'm not with them all the time. So as you go into this position, think about your family, think about your wife or your husband, and can you balance the demand of being a principal with the balance of your family? When I initially went into this, my kids were in high school, and I was missing football games. I was like, ooh, I can't do this, because you can't get those memories back. And that income is not worth losing those memories. So I took a step back, and I just think it's very demanding. So when you think about you want to be a leader, it looks easy when you're looking through the window, but you're at work for an hour, and you've already answered 50,000 questions in 50,000 different ways. You are balancing a community member, you're balancing a staff member, you're balancing a person, a student, and everything that you say is being monitored, is being honored, is being questioned. So you have to think about all those things. I love the job. I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to have this job. But don't look in the window and say, "Oh, that looks easy," just because you think it's easy, because it's not an easy job, but it is definitely a rewarding job.
See, and see, you know what? I feel like okay, I did send you the question.
Yeah.
So, what is the most rewarding? So we've looked at some of the parts of the job that's heavy, right? And that's a little bit challenging. What would you say is the most rewarding part of the job? Because people still take the job and people still love the job. What's the most rewarding part of it?
So do I go back to summer vacations or
No,
what? Oh, seriously? Oh, okay. That makes me sad.
Okay. Look, if that's the most rewarding part for you, that's the most rewarding part.
Because we don't get summer breaks for
Exactly.
12 months. I think the most rewarding parts is just being in the space of young people. Just their energy. I'm going in the cafeteria and just being goofy with them. Just seeing them walk by you in the hallway and say, hey, Jeremy, you look so handsome today, or Brittany, you look so pretty. And just seeing their smile on their faces, or just know that you are making a connection with somebody and it means something to them, because we never know what's going on with somebody. It's just like, actually, while we're speaking, I have a person that's sitting in my office who has a detention, and he's in detention because he was late for school, 3 times, sweetie? And actually, I disagreed with the staff member why he had detention. It was from an adult situation that he couldn't control. And just he and I vibing on that, I was like, so now, blah, 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 blah. That's why you were late? And he was like, yeah. And I said to the teacher, I said, well, that's an adult circumstance. So why are we holding him responsible for something that's out of his control? But then at the same time, I had to teach Jeremy about being responsible. So just having those conversations with young people and helping them to connect the dots is rewarding.
That love and logic.
Yeah,
Right.
and I had another kid in here today. He did a whole bunch of stuff, and I talked to his dad. His dad was like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And then when I hung the phone up, I realized I forgot one thing. I was like, oh my God, I forgot to tell him you cheated on that test. And he was like, oh my goodness. He's like, are you really going to call him? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, why? I said, because I want to get you in trouble. I wake up every day to get a kid in.
That's the most rewarding part.
He's like, I wake up every day to get somebody in trouble. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. And I said, what's the phone number? He was like, you going to give me the number? I said, we're calling. I'm going to find this number. And he was sitting there. He was like, you know, I called. I was like, hey, Dad, this is your favorite principal. He's like, I just talked to you. I said, yeah, but I forgot to tell you. He also cheated on the test. It was like, what? I said, Dad, you know, I love getting people in trouble.
Yep, that's what we do. That's what we do.
This is so much fun. But on the serious note, I did have to get that in. I did have to call it in, but I had to make that young man own it. But I did it in fun. I was like, I had a good time with it. And he was like, oh my gosh.
Because you like a middle schooler.
I'm like a middle schooler. I was like, oh my God, that's how. So
that's funny. Yeah. Would you say that the most rewarding part of your job aligns with your why?
Not really, because my why was really based on academic things. As a principal, an instructional leader, and just someone who's here to support the staff and the young people, it kind of breaks up in different sections. So the assistant principals, you understand this one, they're the bad guys in areas.
Yes, yeah, and I hate it at times, but
right?
yes.
You guys are the bad guys. So when I'm making, having jokes with him about, hey, blah, 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 that's the fun part. That's the rewarding part for me. And then when I'm the instructional leader, that's why I got into this, because I'm traveling, and each school system has a different way of curriculum. That was my why. My rewarding part is the relationship part. I'm a huge relationship person. So they don't necessarily align.
Yeah, that's fun though. That's good. In your role as principal, define success, but also define failure.
Success. I think success is when I have a culture of kindness. Like, that's my thing. Like, when young people do stuff, I'm like, is that kind? Like, what are you doing? And lately, I think in the last 3 years, I really don't have to have that conversation, because the young people are being kind. So yeah. And so if you're sending people out in this world and they're being kind, I think we're winning, because not everyone is being kind today. People forgot about kindness. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a success within itself. Failure. What is failure? Like, what is that? Kids do things, they shouldn't be doing it, but we learn from it and we just pick ourselves up and we try to improve. So,
but not so much from the kids. I'm talking about from you as a principal. If you looked at yourself and you said, I failed at this, right? And the answer could still be the same. right? Regardless if it's for kids, adults, or whoever it may be. Answer could be the same, but just not looking at it from a kid's perspective, looking at it from a principal's perspective. What is failure,
What is failure? Or
if
or
anything?
or what did I fail at as a principal? Like,
Not so much what did you fail at, but if I don't know, what is failure? It could be the answer, right? What is failure?
yeah, what is
But
failure? And because I always have that mindset of positivity, the glass is always full. I don't think in those terms. Nothing is a fail. We missed the mark, so how can we improve it? I'm trying to really wrap my brain around. Like, I can't.
you don't have to come up with the answer. I mean, I left it relatively broad for a reason. Some people look at the ABCs, attendance, behavior, and course performance, right? I'm looking at getting 95% attendance.
Mm-hmm.
We get 94. I failed, right? So that's how some people define it. Other people may define it completely differently. Some just exactly what you just said. I don't look at necessarily as a failure. It's just a learning lesson or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I just think we've done so many incredible things here at Oakland Mills Middle School. Like last year, we had it's 20 middle schools,
Mhm.
and we were the highest performing growth in our standardized tests.
It's great.
Yeah, and we hit all the benchmarks. We hit that attendance. We grew in attendance. We grew in career and college readiness. We grew in mathematics. We grew in discipline. I had like last year 2 fights in the school. So there are just so many positive things that are happening here.
Right.
Our statistics are phenomenal. So all I see is growth
That's great.
and
That's great.
positivity. Our community rallies with us. They're celebrating us. We're getting an addition onto the building, $60+ million project. I never thought I was going to be in charge of a $60 million project, lining the building. It's going to be pink and green, by the way. I was like, can I have
That's y'all
pink?
new school colors now
Yeah,
all
pink
of a
and
sudden.
green. I was like, can I have pink and green in that building? They said, whatever you want, you can have.
See, that's messed up.
Isn't
That's
that
messed up. Somebody's gonna have to
amazing?
take over the building. It's
The
all like,
pink
why we
and
got the
green.
pink and green in here?
Only AKs can have the building. All of that.
So okay, so last two questions. In your opinion, what is the greatest challenge that we face in education today? I know there's a lot. But
I
what would
think you just have to start with home and school connection. This is a societal thing now. Parents don't seem to be raising their young people. They seem to let their iPads and their electronics raise their young people. When I was raising my kids, and for instance, we were in the grocery store, we're counting the cereal boxes. Tell me when you find the letter A as I'm shopping. Where's the color blue? Now you see kids, they're on devices. And a lot of times they're unsupervised. So it's kind of like the devices are raising the young people. People aren't reading. People don't know what history was. History repeats itself. But the young people don't know about all the things that have happened because no one is reading. The only times the kids are probably reading is when they come to school and they're pushing back on that. So I think that parents have to do a better job of being centered in their young people's lives. They have to do a better job of reading with their kids and partnering with kids.
Okay. Last question. This is a big one. This is a legacy question. How would you like the students to remember you? At some point or another, you're gonna hang it up and say, you know what? I've got however many years, and I've got 45 years in. I'm about to retire. I feel like 45 years is enough. I'm going to retire. So how would you like for your students to remember you?
So just note to the world, July 1, 2026, deuces. Not because I don't love it.
So we're not getting to year 45. All right.
Yeah, we're
Okay. So then that honestly, that adds on a little bit more weight to this question, right? Nobody else who I've talked to is at the same position that you are, where the end is almost here, right? So with that, for your students who go back and they want to watch this, or they're thinking, man, I wonder what Miss McLendon's up to, or I remember her, or whatever. What do you want them to remember about you?
That I'm loved. This is the bottom line, that I'm loved. That if anyone asked them anything about me, they would say she's loved. She taught me to be kind. And she taught me, and I say this to them all the time, make sure you're honoring yourself, make sure you're honoring your family, and make sure you honor the Oakland Mills community. So I just, that she's loved, because not everyone gets love. We take love for granted. Some people never experience love. And I'm not talking about love in a romantic way. I'm talking about love in a whole way. There's a lot of policies that have to be put in place where we can't hug kids or, be too friendly with kids because of inappropriate things. But I love all my kids. I hug them because some of them don't know love. So if they say anything about me and they say that they experience love through me, that right there makes my heart happy, because everyone needs to experience love. And people have trauma, layers and layers of trauma that prevents them from understanding love, feeling love. They go into a classroom, head down, teachers asking them to do stuff, but there's a void. There's never been love. So if we can get that love in them, the learning will come, the social interactions will come. So I hope that they would say that she taught me love. I felt love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. McLendon. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I will make sure that you get all of this and all this beautiful information, and we'll share this love with the community.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for having me.